Damn, bro, zoom out a little bit. My head's too big for this.
You guys there?
Yep. Can you hear me for once?
Yeah, we're here. I'm here. What's up, Mike? Hey, Mike, with Halloween tomorrow, you should have just worn a Penn State jacket and you could look like James Franklin.
He does look like James.
You look like James Franklin, kid.
He can't even hear us, which is sad.
No, I
We have
can hear
this-
you now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that.
Thank you, Mr. Franklin.
Yeah, thanks, Coach. Please stop playing
For
Sean
what?
Clifford. It's killing me every Saturday.
You should. Are you dressing up as James Franklin for Halloween? You should. I never realized that. You look just like him.
Oh God, are you serious, George?
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Better looking too. Better looking James
Oh, you
Franklin.
kiss ass. You're such a kiss ass. Fuck, why can't I get? Oh, there you go.
Broadcasting Corporation, Fresno, California.
All right, we got to behave now. Right down the line, Michael J, Mike Moritas, George Bruce sitting in. What's up? Central Valley and around the world, Hot 97.7. We are on our YouTube page. We're on Twitter. We're on Hot 97. We're everywhere. Don't worry about it. You'll find us. All you got to do, hey, you know what they always say? Hey, just Google me. That's all you got to do. Just Google me. What's up, fellas?
Not much. Same old, man. Just getting ready for some football.
Oh,
I'm trying to figure out how to make something out of my. Yeah, never mind. We'll figure it
what?
out.
You're trying to make something out of what, man?
I'm trying to figure some way to use my iPad to do this because my computer looked like crap last week. Now I'm just trying to figure out what angle to sit at or something.
Well, it's look. I will say this: it's a better picture, and the angle much better.
Well,
But I mean,
thanks.
you had your background all squared away. Were you using your phone?
When before, I'm still using my iPad. I'm just trying to figure out. I don't know, man. This is the weird thing. I'm not used to this. You guys are. I know I can't have the game.
Dude, you got to go to Five Below and get one of those those iPad holders with the clips on it. Clip it to your thing, and you just sit there.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. All right, we'll figure it out.
I have to endorse my $20 Walmart camera. I'm shooting in 1080p right now. Yeah, man. It's
wow. Look at that.
Hook it up to the computer and go. That's it.
Mine's just basically like the selfie cam on the iPad. It's great.
Yeah.
It's just I got to find someplace to sit and do this because
sit and chill. I mean, it kind of looks like you're chilling now, bro.
I still am, man. I'm lucky you can't see my burrito blanket.
All right, guys, lots to get to. Lots went on in the NFL this week. Look, we got to talk about it. Everybody else did, so we might as well too. Tom Brady.
We're going full TMZ here.
You're going, huh? You're doing it to me.
Look, let me tell you something. I could give two shakes of a rat's behind, to be quite honest with you. I really don't. Look, they had issues. They obviously had issues beforehand. The guy retired, unretired, didn't tell his wife. If that's not a telltale sign that there was obviously issues in their marriage for quite some time, obviously, you don't just do something that pivotal, that life-changing, and not tell your wife. Come on, man. There had to have been issues going on there, and you probably delved deeper into his life than anyone on this panel right now, George. What was your take on it when it happened?
I wish I realized we were starting with this because I had the book, The Dynasty. In there, it does say that she was main part of the divorce in New England.
Oh, okay.
She was, they don't respect you, Tom. They don't love you, Tom. Blah, 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 blah. She wanted to get out of Boston. And I can understand why. It's cold.
Yeah.
They talk like this, and they're calling him Tommy all day.
Tommy,
and all that. And she wanted someplace tropical. She thought it was Miami. Miami didn't happen. She's not in love with Tampa. I called her Jessica Simpson back in 2007. So, I thought she would derail us. We'd never win again. Fortunately, we won in spite of her. If I never have to see her, at a football game again, I'm happy because I really think that the divorce in New England happened mainly because of her. And you don't see anybody going, oh, I think a lot of people are happy for it because,
it was obviously a long time coming. You know what I mean? Mike.
I think it was coming long before he even decided to retire. Like,
I agree.
Dude, I think that's like one of those things. Like, I don't think you can tell that dude, hey, here's an ultimatum. Right?
Yeah.
Like, he's not the ultimatum
fall on
guy.
deaf ears. Like, really?
And,
You're giving
and
me an
he's like,
ultimatum?
you know what? I want to play football. And I think Bridget Moynihan would being the first baby mama. I mean, look at how that whole thing went out, right?
Yeah.
But they're still friends and everything. But, I think he went to her, and I don't think she likes her as much as we think.
Okay.
Like, and I'm sure, Donnie Wahlberg had something to do with it. At some point. Like,
Wahlbergs are always involved when it comes to something, especially Donnie. But anyway.
Well, especially just the whole Massachusetts thing and, Blue Bloods and everything. It's like a double whammy. But I'm sure he went to him and go, do you want to play? Yes, then play. And, what? Was she upset? She can't take her clothes off and make tons of money.
Oh, please.
You can have kids and do that. Like, give me a break.
She'll be fine. She's worth enough money.
I think she's worth more than he is at this point.
She is.
Then he's getting alimony. Good job, Tom.
Here's the thing, though. He's got what, Mike? What does he have waiting for him? What's it? How many millions of dollars does he have waiting for him in the booth? Doesn't he?
I think it was a couple. Wasn't it like 30 million a year or something like 200 million or something? Yeah, he's got a lot of money coming his way. But I mean, like when I first heard of it, because we've been hearing a lot that his decision to unretire and come back was a big thing between the two of them, and that was the main problem. So my first reaction was, how can a guy who's a father and a husband break up his family because he wants to play another year of football that he really doesn't need to play? I mean, he's got how many Super Bowls? 7 now. I mean, he's accomplished everything. Right. You got nothing to prove. Your family's more worth it than playing another year of 45. Sure. However, it seems like they have deeper issues than just that. Maybe his deciding to unretire was the icing on the cake. So, I've kind of changed my opinion about him in that sense, as it kind of seems like it was a mutual thing and there were more problems than just his decision to keep playing football. But, with nobody in his ear to stop him, because she was probably the only person who was, I mean, Brady's probably going to play until he's 50. I mean, he's going to be dropping back in the pocket with a walker at this point. So, I mean, expect him to play longer. I think he's going to play beyond this year now. To be honest.
I mean, that's the thing. And, and that's the next question for you guys. It's like, first of all, he's looked like crap lately. Let's just call it what it is.
Yep.
My other issue is, I hate when sports becomes TMZ, like you guys said in the beginning, right? I understand that it's part of it, that we followed this guy since, the beginning of his career.
Or some of us, Michigan.
I mean, look, I get that side of it because they are human. When we want to know as much as we want to know, at least some fans do. Again, I could give a rat's you know what. I really, I don't care. My concern now for this guy is his play, you guys, going to get better now because the divorce is in writing, there's signatures on this sucker, and can we now move on? Or should I say, can Tom now move on and maybe play better football? Or is this something that's going to continue to hinder his play for the rest of the season? Because I'm going to tell you guys right now, it is quite clear and obvious that no matter what anybody thinks or says, it is having an effect on the way he plays, period, end of sentence. Is now that this is so-called signed, sealed, delivered, the whole world knows now, is this going to help his play get better, Mike? Is he, does he feel better like, okay, now I can move on with my season?
It's possible, but I think he's probably known that this divorce was coming for some time now. I don't think this is any surprise for him. I'm sure he knew that it was probably heading in this direction, and obviously he knows more about his own personal life than we do. I don't see it. I think that this Buccaneers team is just, not only is Brady probably distracted by this whole situation and has been playing with this on his shoulders the entire season, knowing he's probably getting divorced. So this is really nothing new for him to, be able to brush aside. Right. But the Buccaneers also just aren't very good. Their defense hasn't been very good. They haven't been able to run the ball. Pass protection's been shaky. Brady himself just has not been good. Maybe Brady's struggles are more a case of father time than they are of what's happening off the field. And I'm beginning to think that is indeed the case. And maybe that, as you always say, man, father time is undefeated. It's going to catch up to him eventually. He's not a god. Eventually, the age has to catch up to him. And I think that this is probably the year that it's happening. And we'll see how that affects him beyond this year. But as of right now, he looks like a shell of himself. And I don't see any signs of this team turning it around anytime soon.
Look, I said in the beginning of the season, and you and I both talked about this, Father Time waits for no man.
Right.
Not even Tom Brady. I talked about how Brett Favre hit that wall, and we were all witness to him crashing directly, headfirst into that thing in the middle of a game, in the middle of a season. And everybody was like, whoa, because sometimes it happens that way. Now, I'm not saying that that's happening to Tom, but we're starting to see it progressively get worse, if you will. I don't know if it's going to fix it either. George, is this a point where we're going to see him maybe put some of this behind him, or is he going to have to go somewhere else?
Well, I think when you look at Tampa, and the thing is, yes, he is a god, Mike. That's the one thing that you're forgetting.
I know god. We know you think that, bro.
He is a god.
Okay. I know you love Tommy. I love
Tommy.
If he was a god, he wouldn't be playing the way he is right now. I'll tell you that.
He damn sure wouldn't be playing for the Bucs.
Unless you're going to tell me even gods need good pass protection. I don't think they do.
Hey, even gods need good pass protection. And let's look at this year. Like, he comes back out of retirement. They lose, 50% of their offensive line, 60% of their offensive line in training camp. Oh, no. And that's one thing. Mike Evans is a fantasy enigma. He can go for 203 tuds, or he can go for 12 and nothing.
Yep.
He doesn't get open unless the game is. He's just. I don't understand it. Godwin's coming back from an ACL. There's no Gronk. They can't run the ball.
And you have Leonard Fournette. How are you not running the ball? You ran the ball on Pittsburgh. I watched that one.
Well, yeah, you ran the ball against Pittsburgh, but
be amazing in several different circumstances. Are they just not wanting to run him? I don't know what's going on.
I think Byron Leftwich is a terrible coordinator. I think that what the hell is the name of the coach? Todd Bowles is a terrible head coach, great defensive coordinator.
Coach, yes. Great defensive mind.
I think Tom really should have rethought what he was re-signing up for. but Bruce Arians in Tampa was not letting him go, because if they let him go, they're not getting anybody, one. And two, he puts them in salary cap hell
Right.
if they cut him or whatever. So he kind of had to go back. But does he play better now that the divorce is finalized? They've been living separate houses for most of the year.
Right.
Like, if you believe the reporting done by Jerry Thorne of Barstool, who I think is like really good friends with Tom. Like, I think he's the one guy at Barstool who can actually say he's friends with Tom. And when something comes out, it's there. The fact that he's taking Wednesdays off, what was that, to go visit divorce attorneys? She wasn't at Kraft's wedding.
Right.
That should have been everybody's telltale sign. Or, could she really not stomach the sight of Kraft after, the
breakup?
Jupiter incident? No, the Jupiter incident. I think for Tom, he has to go someplace else now. Maybe he goes someplace by Tuesday.
Hey, you never know. Crazier things have happened, right? Look, he's still first in the league, guys, with his passing yards. He's got 2,200 yards. I mean,
yeah, but a lot of those are Chuck and Duck.
He's not, we're still able to talk about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
we're still able to talk about his performance. It's just not the team performance. Win-loss record. It's not what we're seeing.
But that's the thing that Tom is. We've always looked at Tom as, okay, the win-loss record is there. He may have the stats at the end of the year, but what happens to get there? When they played Dallas in week 1, nobody even thought anything of it.
Right.
He looked tremendous. He looked like the Tom Brady of last year and the year before.
Yeah.
Maybe the divorce has taken a little bit out of him. I don't know.
I firmly
But then again, as long as he sees his kids, I guess he's all right. I mean, don't be a deadbeat dad now.
Right. Well,
yeah,
I think money you can't.
I think coaching plays a role in this as well. As George said, I don't think Byron Leftwich is a very good play caller. And we heard those reports last year about Bruce Arians coming in and taking a red pen to the offensive game plan that Brady and Leftwich worked on. Maybe that's why. If we believe those rumors to be true, maybe that's why. Maybe because Leftwich is just not a good offensive coach. And now you remove Bruce Arians from the situation, and things are a lot different. So, somewhere in a corner somewhere, Bruce Arians is smiling because he knows that this offense probably has taken a hit without him having as much input as he used to have.
Yeah. Now, George, you made a comment about maybe he goes somewhere on Tuesday. NFL trade deadline in 2 days. A few guys have already been dealt. Look, there's a lot of rumors about Chase Claypool and who else is on here? Oh, of course, Kareem Hunt is on here as well because he asked for the trade. So Kareem Hunt wants out. Is this where is a back like Kareem Hunt who we've seen used in the two-headed monster scenario? Look, this guy is, he's been handed off the ball 66 times. He's got 263 yards. Not really Kareem Hunt-like numbers. He does have 3 touchdowns. However, 263 yards, and we're at week 8. Really not something we're used to hearing from Kareem Hunt. Best place for him to go. Who could use him the most, Mike?
I think it's the Bills. Honestly, I think Kareem Hunt is a really good running back. I think he's a starter on most teams in this league. He's been stuck behind Nick Chubb since he's gotten to Cleveland. And if you remember, when he went to Cleveland, he was kind of going through those the legal issues and things like that. So he was just kind of looking for some landing spot for himself. Right. Now he's reestablished himself. We've seen him and Chubb have a lot of success over the past couple of years. I think Kareem Hunt is buried in a bad situation. I think he's a really good two-way back, a guy who can, as good a rusher as he is a pass catcher. And, a lot of people have been mentioning the Rams. Rumors have the Rams interested in him as well. I wouldn't want to go to the Rams. Their offensive line is awful. The Bills are a much better situation. I think he is really a good complement to what they already have there with Singletary and I mean, obviously James Cook is there, but this is a rental, and you're the Bills, and you're going for it. And I think they need, if there's one area, they're really strong everywhere, but if there's one area where they could use a little bit of a boost, I think it's the running backs room. I would love to see him in Buffalo's offense.
My God, that would be scary. George, Alvin Kamara is also a guy, speaking of running backs, that could leave the Saints perhaps. Where's a good landing spot you think that he might fit? Or do you think he even goes?
If he does, I saw a report this morning from, I think, Ian Rappaport. They want a Christian McCaffrey package. The only person that's crazy enough to do that is Philly. And I think with him and Miles Sanders, I think it makes a great backfield there. Now you get a pass catcher out of there. The only problem is if they get him, I'm still not sold on Jalen Hurts.
Really? Why do you say that?
Because has he changed from the guy who was at Alabama that got benched at halftime in the national championship game in the big game? Who cares that they're 6-0? They played exactly the grand total of St. Joseph's Home for the Blind. They haven't played anybody yet. They played the Sweet Sisters of Charity, and great. They're 6-0. Can they go? No, they're going to split with the Cowboys. They're going to split with the Giants, because the Giants, when they get them here at Giant Stadium, are going to remember last year, and it's going to be a remember the Alamo type game for Giant fans. They're going to be loud. And I really don't think Hurts is that good.
Really? Wow.
I'm not sold on him. I can't be sold on him because he's that same guy who played with, in a Nick Saban offense where you're like, is this guy kind of like should have taken a short bus here? Then he goes to Lincoln Riley, and everybody that plays for Lincoln Riley looks good. See Baker Mayfield. How much talent can you put around somebody before you realize, he stinks?
Yeah. But look, at the end of the day, you know what this kid is riding on? I think he is talented. I really do. I think a lot of it too is, the word I hate the most, swag. There's something about the way he's playing, his confidence level, the way. Oh, hey, how you doing, Kat? So, George, that plays a big role, and I think
it does play a big role into it.
A lot of people are looking at him like, okay, he's throwing the ball, he's getting out of the pocket, he's using his legs like we expect him to. Maybe this is a different guy that played at Alabama that got benched. His confidence level, guys, is through the absolute roof. And in a quarterback in the NFL, not only do you need it, but as a coach, as a president, as an owner, as a fan, that's what you want. And that's what he's bringing to the table right now. And honestly, it's quite
Mike, you would have confidence if you had that receiving room.
True, but I think now he has confidence in himself, Brew, where he didn't.
But that's what I'm still saying. If I had that receiving room, if Tom Brady had that receiving room in Tampa, we wouldn't be talking about them being this bad.
Yeah. All right.
Right? If Mac Jones had this receiving room, we wouldn't be talking about him this bad. You got so much talent there. If he was bad, oh boy.
Yeah.
Running him. And you know what the best part would be right now? If he was this bad in Philadelphia, they wouldn't even notice it because of the Phillies.
Okay.
Wait until they get a chance to start dissecting how bad he is and going, wow, we're 6-0 in spite of him.
Broncos, another team, have heard from multiple teams interested in trading for outside linebacker Bradley Chubb. Where are you at with this, Mike? What have you heard? Anything you've heard? Or should I ask you this? Does he leave?
Well, I've been following some Broncos reporters, and they seem to think that there's a good chance he could get traded. But, if you trade him now, that's your best defensive player. Your defense is the best part of your team. It looks like you're giving up on the season if you trade him, in my opinion. Yep. His stock's never going to be higher. He's had a lot of injury issues, so I understand, the inclination to maybe try and deal him. He's having a good year this year. He's been able to stay healthy. But you're really waving the white flag on this season a little bit if you trade him. And listen, they're down 10-0 right now. They look as awful as they have. If they trade him, that's a pretty good indication that they don't think that they're going very far this year. You don't trade your best pass rusher if you plan on contending for, the division's probably out of reach by now, but wild card anything, you're just not competing. And which is insane because you just dropped, 240 million on Russell Wilson. And now you're at the trade deadline of the first year of his career and you're dealing away your best defensive player or one of your best defensive players. Yeah, man, that's a bad look for this organization. But I think that there's actually a good chance there's enough smoke to believe that there's fire there.
Oh, absolutely. And they're saying that, that they don't have any plans on trading Jerry Jeudy or KJ Hamler, but I'm going to tell you
Nor should they. I mean, Hamler I could see because there's not enough footballs to go around for him. I think he's a talented young player. I think he's a good deep threat, a guy who could be a really good, probably, number 2, number 3 on a lot of teams. But, you don't trade Jerry Jeudy and you don't trade Courtland Sutton. No. You're not going to start taking away weapons from your quarterback who is struggling. It makes no sense to deal those guys. It really, if you're trying to compete, it doesn't make any sense to deal Bradley Chubb either.
Look, can we sit here, Brew, and say and put our thumb on the Broncos and go, this is by far the biggest disappointment in the NFL thus far? Can't hear you, buddy.
I think he's muted.
Oh. They have the biggest tool bag as a quarterback. I did that, by the way. Like, how many guys sit there and go, I was doing high knees on the plane while everybody else is sleeping? Like, what a hardo move is that? I was in Massachusetts, he'd be a hardo, right? But the dude's a hardo, right? They're terrible. Nathaniel Hackett was a bad hire. John Elway has to get out of running a football team, run a car dealership.
Yes.
But we all know that you're there and Schefter's your boy and everything that you hear comes from him. It's such a joke.
It's by far.
And I got a perfect place for KJ Hamler.
Where? Giants.
If you're a wide receiver in a warm body, the Giants are the best fit.
That's true. Yeah, exactly.
But let me defend John Elway a little bit for a second here, and really the Broncos. Did anybody think bringing in Russell Wilson was going to be a bad move?
No.
Let's be real here.
Stop it, bro.
Say what you want. Listen,
I did.
Come on. You're really hard on him because Russell Wilson's been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL for a long time now, and then you put him into a better situation where the Broncos have a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. You expect that to work out. Them and the Raiders are the biggest disappointments of this year, but the Raiders are the Raiders. The Raiders are going to find a way to screw things up. The Broncos are a great organization, so when you bring Russell Wilson in, I was thinking division title, Super Bowl. Yeah, look at the success they've had. Last few years,
two quarterbacks.
The quarterback situation has been a disaster, but how many teams would love to have 3 Super Bowls?
Yeah, no.
They've been a great franchise.
But that doesn't make you a great organization. It's just like the team that plays in the Meadowlands that has 4 Super Bowls. Does that make them a great organization? No.
Overall,
does a blind nut find a squirrel once in a while?
Not easy to win Super Bowls. There's a lot of teams out there that have never won a Super Bowl before.
Correct.
It's not easy. So you're on another level when you get to one of those Super Bowls, and when you start winning multiple, every organization has its flaws. Okay, are we going to write off the entire history of the Commanders? And the name they had before. I don't want to get canceled.
Right.
Are we going to write off their entire history because Dan Snyder is an idiot? No. The Washington's had a very good history. So, you can't just start taking away because, as they say in Game of Thrones, we can't punish children for the sins of their fathers. You can't punish, the entire organization for the sins of one certain sect of the franchise's history.
Right. Look, as the guy that has that covered the Broncos for a few years, I'm going to tell you, and I have beaten that franchise up while I was there. But that's me. And it's only because I could never understand some of the moves that were made. But I am going to agree with Mike in this aspect is it's a very good organization. They've had their flaws like everybody else, like the Rooneys, like the Maras, like everybody.
Yep.
But like you said, winning Super Bowls is one of the toughest things to do in the NFL. And when you can achieve that, you got to give that organization some kind of credit. Now, are they a great organization? Absolutely not. They're a good organization. Nobody saw this Russell Wilson thing coming. I know, Brew, you think you did. I'm just saying.
I did. I absolutely did. Because there's a reason you don't trade franchise quarterbacks, Mike.
Yeah, but
you don't.
From
You
all
just
we
don't.
know,
And
he
there's a
wanted
reason
out.
why.
I think he wanted out.
Inevitable.
I don't think that was the Seahawks saying we want to get rid of him.
Correct.
I think that was him
Seahawks were
wanting
trying to
out.
trade him to the Browns 3 years ago.
Yeah, but I mean, do we know if he wanted to be traded or if the Seahawks wanted to trade him? Maybe it was a situation where he's like, I'm not going to resign. Trade me. You know, I mean, we don't know what's behind the scenes, but I find it hard to believe that a guy who took them to 2 Super Bowls is somebody that they're trying to unload.
Right.
The way they did.
You know what? I always look like if there's smoke, there's fire.
Sure.
So when you got when you got guys on the team going, I don't know if this guy's the guy. This guy's not a leader. Pete Carroll knows leaders.
I know that they have had their dissensions in that locker room. I know it.
Yeah.
Right?
And he's the biggest part of it.
Right. And Richard Sherman has shown plenty of light on that situation for the rest of us to be able to dissect and figure out, and assume whatever we want. But at the end of the day, and I've said this, and Mike knows this, if he doesn't trying to find a way to get closer to that offense and stop separating himself, whether it be with his own office, with separation of his dressing or whatever the case may be, it's got to stop. It's obviously showing right now because he's getting whooped in London.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 10-7 now. But
well, one thing I will say about Russell Wilson is he is incredibly out of touch. The high knee things on the plane was obviously probably leaked by him or, someone in his camp.
It was leaked by him.
Okay. And then you have the Instagram post, no, not the Instagram, the Twitter post this morning, unwavering, him walking down the tunnel with the glove. Just shut up. Just play football. You're making yourself into a circus clown. You're making yourself into the running joke of the league, which is what he is right now. He's being memed, he's being mocked, but he keeps doing it because sometimes people, when they get to this level of fame and money, they stop conversing with the regular town folk like me and you. They become out of touch. They get into this bubble that nothing penetrates, and they don't realize how they're being perceived on the outside. And I think that's what it is with Russell Wilson. And not only is that with the entire public, I think that's happening inside the locker room as well.
Oh, I'm sure.
And his little rah-rah speeches and one game he was talking to his offensive line on the bench, and it was like one of those like cliche rah-rah speeches. Dude, if you're capable still, be a human being. Be a regular guy. Come down a notch and stop with all this protective, living in your bubble thing. He's got to wake the hell up, man. I think that's a big part of his issues right now is he's just so far out of touch. He doesn't know which way is up and which way is down.
All right. Hold on, George. I'm going to stop. Hold on. It's okay. Sorry. I'm going to stop. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk more about this. We're also going to talk about your boy Tannehill. He's got a stomach bug. What's going on with that? We got to talk about that. Keep it locked, y'all. It's right down the line. Mike Moritas, George Brew, hot 97.7. Don't go nowhere.
It's the Morning Boombox with Michael J. From 6 to 10 a.m. on the all-new Hot 97.7.
Hot 97.7, right down the line, our NFL Sunday morning show. Mike Maritas, George Brew, got the glasses on.
Now we all have glasses. The circle is complete.
Trying to look smart.
I love it. They look good, bro.
Thanks, kid.
Very nice.
Yeah, hopefully
all
it makes a fine glass.
All right, so finish your point, man. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but we had to take
No,
that
that's all right. No, I forgot what it was. Oh, like even after they scored a touchdown here in London,
Okay.
right? There ain't nobody going up to him. They're all running to Judy, and then he's walking down the sideline, and the next thing you know is he goes into his cubicle like he's Toby in The Office. He's Toby Flenderson.
Yeah, it is, man. George, that's a great point. You know why? Because it just elevates the fact that his disconnection, everybody is seeing it. And it's on display. It's not even something behind the scenes that we're seeing. We're seeing it every freaking week with things like that. Why isn't he getting chest bumps, arm you know, where is it? It's nowhere to be found. And that is a true sign of disconnection.
You know, I pointed out to you, I don't know, it was probably a handful of weeks ago when he threw a pass to Jerry Jeudy in a game, and it was a rocket. I mean, it was like a 7 or 8 yard out, and it was a rocket near the sideline. And Jeudy, you saw on TV yell at him, you can't throw it that fast. You know, that's a second-year wide receiver yelling at his veteran Super Bowl winning quarterback. You know, that says a lot to me about, you know, maybe it's not all honky-dory there. And the more we see of Russell Wilson, the more I believe that to be true.
Dude,
and it's not that Jerry Jeudy came from, you know, what's the matter you? He came from Alabama.
Sure.
Right.
With a NFL coordinator and B.O.B., or Billy O. Stooge, as I like to call him, an NFL head coach, right?
Yeah.
And an Alabama team that scored at will.
Yeah.
And he's telling you that. So obviously he's been coached up.
Sure.
To know that. And everybody and their mother knows you don't throw a 100-mile-per-hour fastball in an 8 yard out. Maybe you can go take ground balls with the Yankees in the offseason.
Look, first of all, we don't want him. Second of all,
yes, they do. He probably made contact.
That's true. That's a good point.
That is a good point, but that's the least of our worries. All right. Let's not go down that rabbit hole, please. But look.
Sorry, Mike.
No, you're fine. I can't take this guy, man. I look on the outside the lines, outside the numbers, outside of, you know, what we normally talk about. I just can't deal with this guy, man. I can't. He's embarrassing for me. And the reason I say this is because I've gone to bat for this guy when he got drafted. Everybody was like, oh, he's too small. So I'm like, this is a guy that's going to win you a Super Bowl right away. It's going to happen. He's playing. Unlike Aaron Rodgers and Brady that played with a chip on their shoulder, he had a chip on his shoulder, but it was a different kind of chip. You could see the talent. You could see the want. When he first came into this league, he was a completely different guy than he is now. He could be that rah-rah guy, and people were following him. And he had that relationship with his receivers. And they won. And they got to 2 Super Bowls for a reason. But what's happening to this guy now? I don't even recognize this guy. I don't even know who this guy is anymore.
Yeah, he's just not a genuine guy. He's a very protected, like I said, just out of touch, in a bubble. And that's another reason why, listen, say whatever you want to say about his personal opinions or whatever. But one of the reasons why I appreciate Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers straight up tells you what he thinks, you know, what he's doing, and you take it or leave it. You know, I mean, he's not all protected. He'll speak out against, you know, things that he just doesn't agree with. You know, I mean, listen, I don't agree with everything he says, but he's a hell of a lot more genuine than Russell Wilson is, and I'm sure his teammates respect him for that.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the thing with Aaron, and that's the thing with Aaron, with like I said last week, with doing McAfee. You now get him, like the guy with the book club and all that stuff. Like, he's well read, he's very articulate, like, and he That 3-hour sit down he did with Joe Rogan.
Excellent.
Like, can you see Russell Wilson doing that? He'd probably be like, well, in the documentary.
No.
Yeah, right.
Wait.
He'd be pushing his supplements or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, like he's just,
let's ride.
Let's ride.
Yeah.
Come on. Let's ride.
Or he'd be pushing Ciara's new CD or something, I mean, like, it's just, there's such a night and day difference between the two. I mean,
I know.
It's
it's crazy. All right.
At least he doesn't slur his S's.
Tennessee Titans quarterback Ryan Tannehill missed a second straight day of practice yesterday because of a stomach bug. So we get rookie quarterback Malik Willis, who is going to start for the Tennessee Titans. And, of course, we all know Mike Marinas writes for Titans Wire, USA Today's Titans Wire. Mike, what's up, man? What is the expectations of this young rookie quarterback who, quite frankly, a lot of people had their eyes on during the draft, and Tennessee was lucky enough to grab him up? What are the expectations out there?
Well, Tannehill's also dealing with an ankle injury, but I think the ankle would have been good enough for him to play. I think the illness really canceled him out of this week. That said, listen, expectations. Willis is still raw as a passer, man. The idea was to let him sit for a year and let him develop, so he's being thrown into the fire a little earlier than we all expected him to be. But the good news is for him is he's an elite rushing talent. I mean, if you watch him during the preseason, this guy was, with horrible pass protection, was getting out of some incredibly sticky situations and turning them into positive gains. Tannehill has that ability, but not as much as this guy. I mean, you're going to see Malik Willis running a lot, and they have got to tailor the offense to his strengths. He's not going to be hitting 50-yard passes down the field. Lord knows the Titans' offensive line isn't even good enough to allow him to do that. Create some design runs, create some rollouts, let him threaten with his legs or even use his legs. Play to his strengths, and first and foremost, get the ball to Derrick Henry. 200 yards and multiple touchdowns at least in each of his last 3 games against the Texans, averaging 103.5 yards per game against them over 10 games in his career. Feed the king and make things as easy as possible on Malik Willis. Like I said, design runs, rollouts, short passes, give guys an opportunity to pick up yards after the catch. Even if Malik Willis plays poorly today, it's not an indictment on him. I don't consider it something that would worry me. Again, offensive line is terrible. The receiving core has some of the worst separation numbers in the NFL. So there's not a ton you can gauge from this, but I will say in closing, if he goes out there and has a great game and the Titans score 30 points for the first time this season and the offense just looks better, you're going to have a quarterback controversy because the offense has been that bad through the first 6 games.
See, and I was going to ask you that, is this, would that be a testament of saying, okay, so Tannehill, Willis, now Willis comes out, throws a bunch of touchdowns, you guys win the game, he looks impressive. Is it I'm sure Tennessee was looking at like, this is our quarterback of the future. This is the guy that we're putting our stock in. Tannehill's got a short shelf life. If he comes out and plays well, do they hold Tannehill back and say, hey, looks like your ankle's still not doing too good. We're, go ahead and have a seat. Is that a possibility?
It should be on the table because the offense has been that bad. The defense has been elite. I mean, listen, the secondary's had its issues, but it's been better of late. The secondary has been banged up. It's going to get healthier. But you have an elite defense. And, the offense has been the biggest problem. The defense is carrying this team right now. If you have a quarterback on your team that's better than the guy who's a starter and run and the offense is playing better with him, And if Malik Willis plays well, not only is it impressive that, he's a rookie in his first career start playing well, he's doing so with one of the worst receiving cores in the NFL. I mean, only the Giants are probably worse. And again, with a bad offensive line in front of him. I mean, if he plays well, you've really strongly got to consider giving him at least another start.
Okay. Speaking of quarterbacks, game last week, 35-17 Bengals over the Falcons. Joe Burrow throws for 481 yards, 3 touchdowns. George, has Burrow shaken off the dust from last year's Super Bowl loss? Is this the Joe Burrow we had been expecting to see after that pretty amazing season that the Bengals had last year.
Yeah, it is. But guess what? He loses Jamar Chase this week.
I know. Can you?
So it's like you can have a great. He
that
has
was
a great
damaging
week last
to
week,
that offense,
and that's damaging. And hopefully, the reports already saying he's going to miss IR. But 4 weeks is a long time, and for an offense that's shuffling and can't seemingly get out of its own way. And oh, by the way, welcome to playing a first place schedule.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the NFC North boys a really tough schedule this year.
Yeah.
Good luck with that one. Yeah, Mike. I'm not telling you something you don't know.
Yeah.
That's what makes. I hate to go back to it, but this is what makes the Patriots run so much more impressive. It's what made the Colts run so much more impressive. It's what the Steelers and Ravens have done. You're taking everybody's best shot every year, and you're there.
Yeah.
You're not a one-hit wonder. You're not. Can it be? Maybe. I mean, Burrow's had weeks and up and down weeks. I mean, that Steeler game in Week 1 was atrocious.
Yeah.
I almost thought I was watching a Rutgers quarterback, but
I know it was bad. It was bad.
Clifford.
Well, Jamar Chase going down last week. He had 130 yards. Tyler Boyd, though, George, showed up.
Yeah,
big.
Well, you know what? It's about time those guys do. But the Falcons are terrible.
Agreed, but at the same time.
But you got to win the schedule. Games are on your schedule, and they did.
Right,
and they did what they were supposed to do.
It was look. Regardless of the fact that it was, Marcus Mariota and the Atlanta Falcons, who are hapless as you know what, it offensively it was still quite an impressive day for them.
Yeah, if there's any team that can overcome the loss of a top receiver like Jamar Chase, it's the Bengals. I mean, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins are Tyler Boyd's the number 3 on this team. He could be a number 2 on any team in the league. I think he's a really good player. So I mean, they're in a better spot than most to overcome Chase's injury. I think they'll be fine.
Like you said, T. Higgins still is healthy, so you have that. I mean, look, they have a talented receiving corps, so they should. I think they'll be fine. Dallas Cowboys beat the Detroit Lions 24-6, and Dak Prescott's back, 207 yards, 1 touchdown. Mike is because obviously there was no quarterback controversy, which we all know. But is Dak back? Is this what we wanted to see, or was there a few things missing? Is he still not quite there, or is he back?
I mean, he was efficient. He looked pretty good, but he also kind of looked like a guy who hadn't played in a while. So,
correct.
I mean, we're gonna reserve judgment for now. Give him a couple games to get his feet under him. I'd like to see him have one of those, 300-yard, 2-touchdown performances today against the Bears. Beat up on a bad team, and have kind of that get on track game to set you up for the second half of the year. So, tentatively, I say he's back, and he looked pretty solid, but let's see one of those big games and those big numbers. Let's see that we've seen him put up in the past.
George, this Detroit Lions team, man, to put it on the other side of that field that day. Dan Carpenter, man, is this a guy that's? I mean, they're 1-5. They started off good. We saw productivity. And I hate to do this, but I'm gonna. Mike Greenberg said something that actually stuck with me. There's only so much rah-rah you can do as a coach.
Yep.
And he's a great guy. He's a player's coach. To me, he just fits that ultimate coordinator. Like, he's the guy that'll get in everybody's ear and get them going and tell them things they want to hear. But as a head coach, I just feel like it's just not enough. Not that it's falling on deaf ears. It's just not enough. What happened to these Lions? Because they looked good in the first 2 weeks, and now we're right back to where we were last year, George.
Jared Goff is still their quarterback?
Okay. That's, yeah.
They're still owned by the Fords, right?
Yeah, as far as I know.
They do make a pretty good car, though.
Yeah, it's fix or repair daily. I understand.
Yeah.
Do I have to say more?
No, you don't have to. I
PC
just
principal.
Yeah,
He's PC
you know,
principal.
I'll
At the
say
end of
this
the day.
is
he is. That's a great. That's probably the best analogy I've heard all week, bro.
Thank
PC
you.
principal is that perfect. Look, I
You're welcome.
like the
You can
guy.
use
I
that.
really do, and I really think that he's that he's got a really good football mind. I just don't think that his place in this league will ever be as a head coach. I
yeah.
don't see it.
You know, the Lions also been missing some very key offensive pieces. Their defense, is awful. We know that their
Right.
offense is good, I think. But I mean, you've had DeAndre Swift for 2+ games. I think he exited early out of his last one. Amon-Ra St. Brown has missed 2 games, exited early out of one or
That is
two of
true.
them. That makes a big difference. Those are their best offensive players, and DeAndre Swift is a home run hitter, man. I mean, he could break off a 70-yard run with the best of them. So I want to see them get their best offensive players back
On the field.
before I start. Yeah, before I start,
Okay.
firing Dan Campbell or anything like that. But I mean, it definitely has been somewhat. I mean, we expected them to stink, but to be more competitive, they have not looked like the same team that they looked like in Week 1 against the Eagles when they were very
No.
competitive.
I
Look,
mean, they damn near got donutted by Bailey Zappi.
Yeah.
Enough said.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, this is, Mike, that's a great point. They are missing some pretty key players at this juncture. So, I mean, yeah. I mean, I would reserve, getting rid of Campbell,
1 second,
possibly
Mike.
giving him another year. I just don't know. I don't know if the franchise, and that's the other thing. You have to wonder, what are they thinking? Like, are we missing the ball with these coaches? Because we've seen this coaches carousel go on for decades. Decades.
Yeah.
And it hasn't gotten any better at any junction. So,
Well, to me, it just makes what Hard Knocks does even more impressive. They made the Lions look compelling.
they did.
And then here's the other thing, though. Yes, they are missing players. Yes, they are. They're missing guys across the board. But effort shows up when talent doesn't.
Right.
They're quitting. They've quit. And that's the worst thing you could say about any athlete is they quit. That team's quit. And they still don't have a quarterback. They had one. He's in La La Land.
Yeah. I mean, Goff's problem this year, really, his biggest issue are the interceptions.
Well, that's what he's always done, though, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not
He's
this
always
many
been an
this
interception
early.
machine. Yes.
I agree. You're right. He has. But for him, I mean, he had 2. What, last week? He had 2. He's at 6 right now. He's bad, but he hasn't been this bad this early.
He's a serviceable quarterback. I mean, let's call it what it is. He's an average quarterback who I think is like a perfect bridge guy. He's bridging. He's not the future in Detroit. They're going to stink this year. They're going to heavily target a quarterback. The less wins they get, the better, to be honest, because you want CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. Those are the prized pieces of this next draft. So, he's a good bridge quarterback. He's a serviceable quarterback. He's giving you exactly what you thought he would, which, I mean, at least early on in the year, was to keep them competitive offensively and at least somewhat be able to maximize the offensive weapons you have. So no surprises here. I mean, we knew what Goff was coming into this year.
Absolutely.
But they have got to figure out that situation because that's part of the rebuild, right? I mean, this is a team that's rebuilding. Let's not forget, with all the hard knocks, with all the, how competitive they looked in the early part of the year. This is still a rebuilding team that has a lot of work to do on defense, and they're probably a lot closer on offense than a lot of people give them credit for. But there's work to be done. I mean, they're just not a good team.
Absolutely. All right, y'all, keep it locked right down the line. Michael J., Mike Moritas, George Brew hanging out with you on a Sunday morning. We're going to do a little game called Are You In or Are You Out on the other side of the break. Keep it locked.
right car seat for their age and size. Visit Safer Car. Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
There's nothing like waking up to some old school jams. Tune in to the Morning Boombox with Michael J from 6 to 10 a.m. on the all-new Hot 97.7.
Hot 97.7 right down the line. Michael J, Mike Moritas, George Brew hanging out with you. Don't forget to check us out on our YouTube channel as well. We're also streaming live on Twitter at Michael J Radio. Make sure you follow these two knuckleheads, and three. I was right the first time. Three knuckleheads.
Guys, update from London at the end of the first half. Russell Wilson had a Hail Mary situation near midfield, and they decided to throw the ball out of bounds instead. So,
what?
There you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the current state of affairs in Denver. They're even afraid to throw a Hail Mary.
What's it, 10-7 right now, right?
Yeah, man. I can't. Thank you. The only good thing I can say is I did not start Cortland Sutton anywhere today. That's the only good thing I can say. So
smart man.
Yeah.
There you go. All right.
Can we officially say that the Brits hate us for sending over the Jags every year?
Look, can I tell? Yeah, I know, right? But here's the thing. We're going to talk about them here in a little bit in Are You In or Are You Out? But the fandom, can we talk about that for a split second? The fandom over there is incredible. I mean, watching these people muddle into this freaking stadium, I mean, there is not an empty seat in that place. Not an empty seat anywhere. And they have British flags with Bronco logos on them and Jag logos on them. And I'm like, really? So they can't be that mad, George.
Mike, let's remember this one thing. You give a Brit any reason to drink, they're gonna take it. It's just like a Generation Y or whatever, Z or whatever, with anything like, stare at my cat's butt con or
like
whatever
we had to do
con.
earlier with your cat. I'm gonna have
what's funny? My wife texted me. Dude, I was going to tell you this. My wife texted me because she's not here, and she's watching, and she goes, "That is the perfect analogy to talk about Russell Wilson, is just have the cat just shove its butt in the..."
Right in the camera. I was like, oh, that's like right in the middle of Mike over here giving a point. And I was like, oh, God, really? Did that just happen? But yeah, tell your wife.
I feel terrible, but man, you couldn't have timed it better. I tried.
Oh my God. All right. So another game that was kind of eye-opening here. Seattle 37, Chargers 23. Look, I wanted to talk about Justin Herbert, and one of you guys can if you want, but I want to talk about Geno Smith.
Yeah, really. Let's talk about the better quarterback, shall we? Huh? Geno Smith, Hall of Famer. Come on.
The resurrection of the career of Geno Smith. I mean, why did it take so long, But he's here. He's playing well. I mean, look, this is the Teddy Two Gloves that we're used to seeing back in the day when he was in Minnesota. I mean, granted, he threw a pick. Okay. But 210 yards. He was very efficient. 2 touchdowns. Look, Seattle doesn't look bad. Let's put it that way. Is this the return of Geno Smith? Are we going to see Seattle make a little run here with Geno, Mike?
I mean, I was extremely skeptical of it, obviously, and I'm still a little skeptical of Geno, but I'm looking at the rest of the team around them. Kenneth Walker is going to be a star. I mean, this guy looks unbelievable. Their offense, I mean, they've got the weapons of DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. DK Metcalf was supposed to miss multiple games, but he's a superhuman and is actually going to play this week, so that's insane. But then you look at their defense, and they've got some young pieces there that really have played very well. Yeah. The last 2 drafts have served them very, very well. They've done a good job picking players with the picks that they've had, and the majority of those picks have hit. So we're not just talking about, is Geno Smith good enough to take the Seahawks to where they need to go? He's played well enough to do that and really has surprised me, and I've turned the corner on him a little bit. I was skeptical, and I'm still a little skeptical, but I'm a little less skeptical than I was in the beginning of the year. And but when you take the team as a whole, they're starting to look like, okay, maybe this is a good team. Not just is Geno Smith a good quarterback, but are the Seahawks just actually a good team? And they appear to. I mean, they're in first place. Who the hell had the Seahawks being in first place on their 2022 bingo card? I don't think a soul in this planet did. I don't even think the people in Seattle did. Right. Here we are.
Dude, Kenneth Walker. What?
Yeah.
Guy went bananas.
Stud. Loved him coming out. And I grabbed him in my Dynasty League anywhere I could get him because I just felt like this guy is maybe not happen this year, maybe next year, but he's going to be a really good back. And it's happening right now, right before our very eyes.
Dude, 167 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was on fire. So was Marquise Goodwin, though. But, George, let's go to the other side.
Oh, man, all right, I'll do that, but I'll give you one.
Go ahead.
Let's look at Seattle.
Okay.
That's the same team that got rid of Sierra.
Yeah. True.
So was it the team or was it Sierra? Don't make me get the cat back over here to show you what he is.
I tend to believe that Russell wanted out. I think that's the case.
Why wouldn't he? Because everybody was tired of getting. Never mind. All right.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it because we're on Real Radio. This is, a regular podcast. I'd say what it is. That's why we use the cat. That's why we use the cat for the demonstration of what he is.
Yes. Avoids the fines.
There you go. Justin Herbert, has he disappointed you?
No, the whole situation there in the Chargers. Hey, it didn't call them the other word. They're just
Look, he came out swinging though. Oh,
he's gonna come out swinging every week. That's the sad part. That dude is gonna have to come out swinging every week, and they're just not well coached. They're not extremely disciplined. And those are two bad things. And you got a coach that thinks, like going all in is, it's like he sees the other team's cards.
Yeah.
You can't go all in all the time. They missed the playoffs last year because he goes, take the points. Take the points. Like, Brandon Staley's going to lose his job. And it's going to be Brandon Staley's fault.
And you can't have Austin Eckler be your top rusher and your top receiver.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's crazy too. I think the biggest story
maybe they should have kept Hunter Henry.
Yeah. I think the biggest story about the Chargers is their defense. I mean, that was really like the biggest thing that everybody was talking about this offseason. You had Khalil Mack, you had J.C. Jackson. This defense is going to be legit, blah, blah, blah. And it has not been legit. It's been bad. So now that puts more pressure on your quarterback in Justin Herbert, like we've seen for so many years with the Chargers in general. Their defense always stinks. And then that puts more pressure on the quarterback. And then on top of that, Justin Herbert's probably still playing hurt a little bit with the rib injury and all that stuff. So I don't think Justin Herbert's the story here. I think it's the Chargers defense just absolutely stinking. 37 points to the Seahawks, 28 points to the Browns, 38 points to the Jaguars. I mean, the defense has just been a colossal disappointment and just not as good as we thought it was going to be.
Mike, I feel like I said this last week, but I don't remember where I said it, but it bears repeating. When certain teams get rid of certain positions, you say, why are they not keeping the guy? I'm really starting to think if New England gets rid of a cornerback, why the hell are you going to sign him to big money? Because Asante Samuel was trash when he left New England. Ty Law was trash when he left New England. J.C. Jackson was trash when he left New England. Maybe it's New England.
Yeah.
Devin McCourty, who's a kid who wasn't even recruited, is a Hall of Famer because he plays in New England. And he didn't go, okay, get the hell out of here. No, I'm going to stay here.
Right.
There's a gold jacket with my name on it. Put a Rutgers Scarlet Knight in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I agree with George completely. I mean, having the great, one of the greatest defensive minds in the history of the sport is going to make you look pretty good most of the time. So, yeah, I mean, you have to start wondering if these cornerbacks when the Patriots let him go is if they just know that they're not that good,
Yeah.
Or how is it that New England finds every? Oh, I forgot Malcolm Butler too. Yeah, how good did his career turn out?
Yeah, it's true. He had one good year
they
in
got
Tennessee.
now? Jack Johnson. Like he finds generic name guy and says, "Here, play football."
Yeah.
Oh, you play football well.
Yeah, if you look up generic name, it's Jack Johnson. What is it? Jonathan Joe? I don't even know. They've got a bunch of generic name guys.
Jonathan Joseph too.
Yeah. And he's going to go to like Middle Tennessee State and find these guys. I mean, he just goes to the most
Kyle
random
Duggar
places.
was a third round pick. Was a second round pick out of a D3 school. Come on.
Yeah, it's all about the system there, man. I mean, a lot of it has to do with the system.
Yep.
They make average players look really good.
Yep, I agree. All right, Ravens, Bucks, 27-22. Tommy Brady, although he threw for 325, like we know he loves to do, 26 of 44, loves to throw that ball. Lamar Jackson on the other side, 238, 2 touchdowns. I hear this every day from the other talking heads. I hear, he looks tired. He looks disheveled. Let me tell you something. If your household is completely in disarray and falling apart, and your relationship with a woman that you spent 13 years of your life with is coming to an end.
More than 13.
Not to be too brother-like, but I'm going to be. You're going to look a little disheveled your damn self. It's just part of it. And I'm tired of hearing about it. We know the guy's play is bad, but stop telling me, oh, he looks like he's lost like 20 pounds. And look, you go through that. I've been through it. I know what it feels like. It's not a good feeling. Either you overeat or you don't eat. You don't get enough sleep or you're sleeping all the time. Either way, it's a bad situation. And the guy is human. I know Brew thinks Tommy Brady is a god.
No, he is, but I also know he's a human.
The guy is feeling the effects of something that happens to people all the time. People get divorced in this country. There's a 63% divorce rate in this country. It happens. But on the football field, we got to see more out of this guy. Even though he's throwing the ball all over the place, Tampa Bay's just not winning football games. And I know that there's other pieces to this puzzle. That's why they're not winning football games. A la George saying, Todd Bowles, which I think is a big part of it too. I think Todd Bowles is a great coordinator. I don't think he's a head coach. I don't think he'll ever get another head coaching job after this.
He was never going to get a head coaching job if he didn't get a just one hand gift wrap to him.
Yeah. So, look, is it Tommy all by himself? No, it's not all Brady's fault. But we are seeing a little bit of a decline in his decision-making, the leadership. I just don't see a lot of the old Tom Brady that I'm used to seeing on the sidelines, other than him yelling at his receivers.
Oh, Mike, but here's the other thing now. How many red zone penalties can you take? How many procedural penalties can you take in the red zone?
Right.
Because Baltimore was ready to gift wrap them that game Thursday night.
Yep.
And what did they do? They take, 4 penalties inside the 5?
That was. Oh.
If they're undisciplined, at least like Bruce Arians would have chewed somebody out. They don't have anybody to take out to put in. Isaiah Wynn's terrible in New England. At least they got somebody. They have nobody for that offensive line.
Yeah.
And AQ Shipley isn't walking through that door to help him. It's just, man, it's a bad situation.
Did they go from two complete opposites in head coaches? You got Arians as the offensive guy, fiery, that face gets red. And then you have Todd Bowles, who has the personality of a brick. I mean, he's just, he's not going to give you that rah-rah element. He's not going to give you that chew you out element. And Mike, we talk about this all the time, is there are just some guys who are just meant to be coordinators.
Yes.
And Todd Bowles is one of the best defensive minds in the league. He is a coordinator. He's not a head coach. We learned that already. And he got his second chance. As George said, it was kind of gift wrapped to him. I don't think he gets a job any other way. And it's just not working out. It's just not working out. And I think that we cannot put this all on Tom Brady. There's more to it than just his divorce and his play. It really has been just a perfect storm of everything going on in Tampa.
George, I'm gonna let you wrap it up. Did you want to say something else on that?
No, Mike kind of summed it up perfectly.
Okay. All right. Let's play a little game we like to call "Are You In or Are You Out?" The first one, George, I'll let you go first on this one. Aaron Rodgers plays in a different uniform next year. Are you in or are you out?
I'm getting there. He may be in a suit on Jeopardy, or he's playing somewhere else in this league, on Tampa maybe. He's definitely playing somewhere else next year.
Okay.
And that's if I'm him, because Gutekunst and all them, they want to go another way, and you waste a first-round draft pick. And if you waste a first-round draft pick on a quarterback and you don't play him in the first 4 years,
yeah.
Thank God there's no owner there to fire everybody.
Yeah. The whole town of Green Bay fire. But anyway, Mike, where are you
Probably
at? You in or
drunk on
you
brats.
out?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, as long as he might not have that Jeopardy thing, as long as Blossom doesn't mess up, but that's besides the point. You know, I can't see how the hell he would. I don't know why he stayed in Green Bay in the first place. I mean, this relationship was, and I think that's why the Broncos brought in Hackett, because I felt like that they wanted to pair Rodgers and Hackett together, and it just didn't work out. Now you're stuck with two guys in Hackett and Wilson who are incompatible, but that's another story. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see him playing someplace else. I'm in on that. This team is just, they're just not good with building an offense and bringing in specifically receivers. They just didn't do enough. You know, they let the best receiver in the NFL go, and they thought that they were going to replace him with a number 3 receiver, an 800-year-old receiver, and 2 rookies. And they thought that was going to work out. And it's not. You know, it's just, you cannot depend on rookies to do that. You can't depend on them that much. And Sammy Watkins, I mean, just an absolute failure by the front office this offseason in not only losing Adams, but not replacing him with a sufficient enough talent. I'm in on Rodgers leaving.
I absolutely believe he's going to be in another uniform next year. There's no way that this you-know-what show continues.
Yeah, and I don't think he likes Hackett, so I don't think Denver was ever an option.
Well, him and Hackett, obviously, we all know had their issues, but
yeah, but to say that they were going to bring in Hackett because they thought they were going to get Aaron Rodgers would poop on that faster than the cat would.
Well, him and Flores, there's always been mixed emotions between him and Flores. I mean,
for the record, I don't think Aaron Rodgers likes anybody. I mean,
he likes
I think Aaron Rodgers
is
right. Exactly. I think he thinks he's extremely talented, and I think he thinks he knows more than everybody else about football. And it doesn't matter what coach you throw in there. Yeah. The only reason why I say the Hackett Rodgers connection is I've heard him in interviews speak glowingly of Hackett, but and then again, I guess we shouldn't expect that he's just going to crap on the guy. Yeah. I mean, so who knows how legit that is or not? But it seemed like they had a good relationship. I don't know. Who knows?
Or he doesn't like him so much that he talks him up to get him the hell out of there.
Yeah.
Well,
seen that before.
I definitely think he plays for someone else next year.
One thing to consider with Rodgers, if they're not going to cut him, obviously. So if they trade him pre-June 1, the Packers are on the hook for $98 million in dead money. Woo! If they trade him post-June 1, it's a little more reasonable at $30 million. So that's something to consider big time, unless they void the contract or some crazy thing like that, like Robert Quinn did with the Eagles. But I doubt that'll happen. So that's another thing to consider. They're going to have a lot of dead cap if they trade him, whether it's pre or post June 1.
What happens to that dead cap money if he retires? Are they hit with that, or can they spread it out there?
Yeah, I think that's the bonus money. I think they're still on the hook for the bonus money because it's prorated over years, but that the team has to still pay that bonus money out. But everything else gets voided. The only time we saw that not happen was in Indianapolis with Andrew Luck, but that was just Jim Irsay being a nice guy and handing his quarterback who was retiring tens of millions of dollars, which was insane. But
Brother, I paid more for this than a Jimi Hendrix guitar.
Right.
All right. Justin Fields has seemed to figure it out, at least for the time being. And the Bears somehow find a way to win the NFC North. Are you in or are you out, Maritis?
I mean, I'm not sold on Justin Fields yet. As far as them winning the division, no. As much as I'm not on the Vikings hype train, as a lot of people are, the Vikings are better than them. The Packers are better than them. The Packers own the Bears. So until you can get past those two teams, you're not winning this division. Justin Fields, finally, the offense
showed up.
Yes, the Bears using his strengths, man. 11 design runs last week. That was more than double he's had in any single game in his career. 5 was his previous career high. Your offense stinks. Your receivers stink. Use your strengths. Your strengths are running the ball with Justin Fields and 2 talented running backs that you have. Use those things to your advantage. I get it. You don't want to get your young quarterback hurt, but you know what? You also don't want to get your young quarterback benched and out of the league, which is where he's heading if he continues playing the way he's playing. So, yeah, kudos to them. Use your best offensive weapon or one of your best offensive weapons and let him run the ball. See what happens. You got nothing to lose at this point,
Yeah, absolutely. You drafted him for that reason,
Yeah. But
So
I'm out on the Bears winning the division. They're not winning that division. If they win that division, I don't know. I'll chop off my pinky or something. There's no way.
The only way you made a good point. Packers own them. Just is what it is. I don't know if I'm all in on Kirk Cousins and that Minnesota team yet. Look, they're 5-1. You got to give them credit on that aspect. But I just something smells like an Aaron Rodgers. I don't want to say comeback, but I just you can't, like people always say, you can't count out Tom Brady. You really can't count out Aaron Rodgers either. And I will be damned if I'm going to be the one no, it's not going to be me. I'm not counting him out either.
I want to see what they do at the deadline. Get a receiver. Go out, use some draft picks, and get yourself the best receiver possible. Brandon Cooks is a guy I'd be looking at. Even a guy like even the Lions might be interested in moving TJ Hawkinson. Will they trade him in division? Probably not. But, a guy like that would be a good addition at tight end. Make a big splash at the deadline for a pass catcher of any kind and help your quarterback out. And then that division is well within reach. I still think the Packers are the best all-around team in that division, even though they haven't played like it.
Right.
But, the Vikings are in first place because they've stunk the least out of all those teams in the division. So,
absolutely.
They're not a bad team, but I don't think that they're as good as a lot of people are making them out to be.
Brew, are you in or are you out that the Jags are the best 2-5 team out there?
Mike, I was sitting here and the NFL app is terrible. I'm trying to figure out who else is 2-5 so I could say no to that.
I have it in front of me. Saints, Panthers, Broncos, Browns, Steelers. Those are all the 2-5 teams.
No, they're not. I don't know. That's like picking the attractive one at Rosie O'Donnell's house. It's really hard. But no, they all stink. The Jags are terrible. Like they almost got gifted a win last week by the referees against the Giants.
Right.
No, they're terrible. Like I was hoping we could make fun of Sunshine some more today in this game, but
Sunshine.
No.
He did throw a goal line interception, so
he did.
That.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, he looked like Sean Clifford.
Yeah.
But
who's the best 2-5 team then, Brew? You want me to run it down for you again?
No. New England has Pittsburgh if they ever get TJ back.
Yeah. Probably after the bye week.
It's definitely Pittsburgh.
I would say Cleveland, actually. I think they've been pretty competitive. I think their defense is a lot better than people give him credit for. Jacoby Brissett has been an absolute downer for this team. He's played well for the most part, but let's be real. This offense is not going to hit where it can be until Deshaun Watson comes back. So, I think once you put Deshaun Watson back in the mix, I think this team gets much better. I think that they're in a pretty good position to compete the rest of the way, but his return's just going to be too late. They're not going to make the playoffs this year, but next year, keep an eye out for the Browns. And, again, it's all about the quarterback there. I think that they would be much better. And that division, it's a shame for them too, because that division is so winnable. The Ravens haven't played great. The Bengals haven't played great. The Steelers are out of it.
Consistent ball. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look,
so
I don't know though. Look, I really used to be, I was really high on Deshaun Watson. I thought he was really good, and he still is.
He was. We don't know.
You're kind of like, bro, that was pretty stupid. But he hasn't
Which
played
time?
In a while. This is a guy that a lot of teams were clamoring for, that wanted. They were in the Deshaun Watson, business. They wanted him on the team. And he is a very talented guy. But look, you've been sitting out a long time. I agree with you on it's going to be too late. And what kind of Deshaun Watson are we going to see? Are we going to see a rusty Deshaun Watson, or is he going to come out swinging and we're going to be like, wow, I guess, there was no rust, and, he's going to be the quarterback that, they paid all that money for, or is it going to be a bust?
Well, here's the thing. He is definitely proof positive that if you have talent or perceived talent, you will get another chance in any professional sport as long as you have perceived talent anymore.
Right.
Like, let's face
Pac-Man
it. If
Jones.
Ray Rice did what Ray Rice did, and he still was the guy who ran all over New England in the postseason, he would have had another job. Right? He would have. He would have had another job. But because the talent doesn't match the baggage,
right?
Everybody's perceiving that Deshaun Watson has it.
Right.
And giving him guaranteed money means that you're going to have to play him.
Yep.
And let's not forget, they shouldn't be 2-5. They should at least be 3-4.
Yep.
They peed away that Jet game.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That Jet game was the worst 2 minutes of football I've ever seen. It shows a bad coach team. Kevin Stefanski is a terrible head coach after that. It almost makes what the Bills did in the playoffs last year, where just kick the ball, just squib kick it.
Yeah.
And then the game's over. What are you doing? Yeah, no. Oh, man, that's bad. That's a bad situation, and it's going to get worse because if he stinks,
that's even.
If he doesn't look, I didn't watch any of his preseason games because I really don't care about the Browns,
right?
Unless I'm watching Draft Day with Kevin Costner. Like that's the only time I cared about the Browns in my life.
Yeah.
Right. If he can, how is he in the preseason against vanilla defenses?
Yeah, I mean you can't gauge off of that.
Yeah,
there's no way.
No.
Dude hasn't played football in 2 years at this point.
Yeah,
and Roger Goodell looks terrible right now because he should have suspended him for the entire season without suspending him for the entire season again this year because this dude is a deviant. He's a menace to society.
Yeah, he's a pig.
And there's more lawsuits out there. I think there's at least one more that's come up since.
If he wasn't playing in the NFL and he was the three of us, he's getting massages from Bubba.
Yeah.
He's
massaging Bubba.
You talk about out of touch superstar athletes.
Yeah.
LeBron James came out this week and denounced his or said he's not going to be a Cowboys fan anymore because of the way they treated players who kneeled for the anthem and everything, which is a whole nother conversation for another day. But he said because of that, he's going from the Cowboys to the Browns. As if the Browns are some sign. Right. And as if the Browns are some sign of moral superiority after they paid Deshaun Watson $250 million. Right. I mean, let's call him almost pretty much what he is. Like, could you be
made more out of touch, LeBron? Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, just the worst transition possible. Like, you just,
oh my God,
just so out of touch, dude. Look who your quarterback is, bro. Like,
yeah.
are
Like,
we on the
the
same
madness.
planet here? We're not, obviously, but still, you know what I mean? Like, that was hilarious to me. I got a good laugh out of that one.
Like, if you really think about it, like Russell Wilson and LeBron are the two phoniest people on the planet.
Yeah.
I'll co-sign that with you, Brew. All right, Adam Schefter just reported Cowboys running back Ezekiel Elliott officially inactive today, so we know what that's going to do. We'll talk about that more. Some of our upset picks, some bold predictions coming up next on the other side of the break right here on Right Down the Line. Michael J, Mike Moritas, George Brew, Hot 97.7 to go nowhere.
Dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the ad.
Get out of that bed and crank it up. It's the Morning Boombox with Michael J. From 6 to 10 a.m. on the all-new Hot 97.7.
Hot 97.7, Michael J, Mike Moritas, George Brew, Right Down the Line. Your Sunday NFL show, man. Thank you guys for hanging out with us, making us a part of your day. We appreciate it. And we are sponsored by the good folks over at W Energy Drink. Make sure you get over to W.GG. That's D-U-B-B-Y. It's Jitterless Energy Drink. Go check them out. Use promo code Michael J Radio and get that 10% off. There's no calories, no sugars, no artificial colors. Go check it out. It's W, y'all. All right. So,
where's mine?
Where's your what?
Where's my energy drink there? W.
Oh, you need some?
I need some. I'll put them up here or something. We'll figure something out.
Yeah, we don't get any merch or anything on this show.
Mike,
like, what's going on, bro? I'm checking my mailbox every day, dude.
I'm wearing a cowboy hat for you because we're talking about
Look at this guy. There you go. You see? Now you need a hat. This way we'll be 3 guys, 3 pairs of glasses, 3 hats. Get a hat.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. There you go, Coach Franklin. There you go.
All right.
There you go.
Franklin. Maybe that's who I'll go as for Halloween.
I'm telling you, kid.
Hey, look, I have a state hat, so I mean, there's that.
And just walk around going, we're 1-0 this week. 1-0 this week. But we're still going to play.
I'm in Jersey, though, so I don't know how well that's going to go,
As someone who has lived in New Jersey his entire life, you can root for Notre Dame and not hear anything because they're the Catholic University of football in this state. Or you can root for the Pennsylvania State University, which is the official state football team of New Jersey.
Yeah. Well, especially South Jersey. Let's get that right. So, yeah.
The whole state is Penn State around here.
It's crazy. I hadn't been to Atlantic City in 20-something years. And last summer, last summer we went and we had a great time. It was beautiful. So much had changed. So much had stayed the same. But it was crazy. In the hotel room, you turn on the local news and it's PA news. It's not Jersey news. It's Philly news. And you're like, what? And I was like, what the hell? So yeah.
Mike, if you really think about it, like 195, right about point where you live, is the Mason-Dixon line for New Jersey.
Oh, I know. I'm like, smack dab in, yeah.
Anybody who says that like Central Jersey's a thing is the Staten Islander who moved to New Jersey and doesn't want to be, they don't want to be. No, there's no such thing as Central Jersey. We're not big enough for it.
Yeah,
but there's
I live in Jersey. I'm from New York, born and raised in the Bronx. Yeah. Grew up in Rockland County. I'm a New Yorker, but I live in Jersey, and I'm not gonna lie. The only thing I don't like about Jersey, you guys can't drive to save your lives. You guys are horrible drivers. Sorry.
Come down to South Carolina and see what it's like. You'll appreciate.
I love everything else about Jersey.
Do you know what though, Mike? But there's that part of New Jersey, and you're in it, where if you got the right cable provider, you get Comcast Sportsnet Philadelphia.
I get it.
You get all the New York stations.
I get them.
And you don't even need DirecTV because you get 19 football games because you get Philly stations, you get New York stations. It's tremendous.
I need more Steeler games so I don't have to, watch it the way I've been watching it for the past 15 years. I'm not going to disclose that information. But, just saying. All right. So give me a bold prediction or get them ready. I'm going to give you guys my bold prediction, especially since I just put my Steeler hat on. My bold prediction of the day is not that the Steelers win, but the Steelers defense are going to get a pick 6 on your boy. Just saying, I feel it. Look, this defense is hit or miss at times. More hit than miss. I will say that. And I'm not saying that because I'm a fan. I'm saying it's because of what I know I see. And that's my bold prediction today. I think that they're going to be backed up against the goal. And, our defense is going to figure out a way to grab that pick 6. They dropped so many interception turnovers last week. It's not going to happen this week. I think they're going to get a couple, but my bold prediction is that the Steelers defense is going to get a pick 6 off of hers. So, Mike, what do you got for me?
I'm going to go Titans because, well, of course, Malik Willis throws for 200 yards, rushes for another 100, scores 3 touchdowns, and we have a quarterback controversy in Tennessee after the Titans have their best offensive game of the year. 30 points they're going to drop for the first time this year, and we have ourselves a good old-fashioned QB controversy way earlier than we thought we were going to have one. That's my bold prediction for Week 8.
I love it. Brew, what do you got?
Mike, can you not do that voice, that sound ever again? Because I thought the AirPods were dying when you made that woo. Like, I just charged it. Sneaky last week, and he's going to not be found out this week. PJ Walker is going to have 250, 3 tuds, and the Panthers move into first place.
Insane.
Wow.
Not the fact that I know the kid, growing up, he's a great kid from Elizabeth, New Jersey. But, hey, that's a feel-good story, man. Like, that guy could have been in this league a long time ago. And thankfully, because of Andrew Luck and Oliver Luck got him in the XFL, and people went, ooh. And then Matt Rule brings him in because of the Temple thing. And now he's got to play. Okay. And he's been the best quarterback they've had all year.
Okay. I like it. I like them both, actually. All right. Upset picks. Let's get some of these upset on alerts. You got the Patriots going to be at East Rutherford this afternoon. The Patriots are a 3-point favorite. I like the Jets in this game at home to upset. What?
How is New England with broke ankle Mac Jones a 3-point favorite?
3-point
What does
favorite.
Vegas know?
On the road.
On the road. So if this game was in Foxborough, they'd be a 6-point favorite. That just shows you the disrespect that the Jets are getting. And damn, I was going to take the Patriots as an upset favorite today.
Absolutely. I
you know what though? Take out the point spread, Mike. Don't even look at it. It's a 5-2 team against a 3-4 team, and a 3-4 team that got smacked last week. New England by 1,000,000 today.
Okay, we'll see. Mike, what do you got? Give me your upset.
Let's go with Arizona. Plus 3.5 at the Vikings. Again, you heard me talk about them before. The Vikings, I don't believe that they're this elite team or even a top of the division team. I think they're probably a little better above average. I could see Arizona walking in there today and winning that game outright. I'd also keep an eye on Lions Dolphins. Nobody's giving the Lions a shot. They got Amon-Ra St. Brown back. They have DeAndre Swift back.
Yep.
That's going to be a shootout and a half. And those are the types of games the Lions are capable of winning. So yeah, but I think my one underdog pick is going to be Arizona at Minnesota.
I think there's a lot of broken pieces in New England too, Brew. That's one of the reasons why I disagree with you on that. But let me. I
mean, they just lost to the Bears.
I know. Let me exactly.
They looked past the Bears and looked to the Jets. I mean, does that ever happen?
They got smoked by the Bears. They didn't just lose; they got smoked. I think some weeks you're going to see I just think the Patriots are short on players. I think they've got good coaching. I'm not a fan of Matt Patricia, but I think you're going to see games where the coaching comes out and this team plays really well, and then you're going to see games like they had against the Bears where you see just sometimes the talent just isn't enough to get over the hump. They've got to figure out that quarterback situation. We cannot keep doing this back and forth situation. Make a decision and roll with the guy.
Bring back Tommy Brady.
Bring back Tom Brady.
Tommy, and let him park his car in Boston. Tommy.
Look, there's too much inconsistency in New England. Too much of it. And and when we get our amazing sound bites from Coach Belichick, so did you plan that?
Right.
Oh, okay, great, fantastic. But to piggyback off of the Detroit Lions thing, with those two players being active today, I absolutely agree with you, Mike, and I think that the Lions are going to beat Miami today. I like that. I think that this is that push that offense needed to get these two key players back in this lineup. Look, and Jared Goff's going to be Jared Goff, but I think that this takes a lot off of his plate. And I'm telling you, I think that's going to be the game of the week right there. Yeah. I really do.
And DeAndre Swift has not been healthy since week 1. And we saw what he did in week 1. I mean, the guy was an absolute animal. So they finally got their offensive pieces back. They're capable of running with the Dolphins today, I think. And the Dolphins are missing one of their starting safeties, so they're not 100% either. So we'll see what happens.
Brew, give me your upset pick of the week, buddy.
Let's see. I was giving you New England, but then I found that they weren't the underdog. Yeah.
I mean, they're living whoever made those odds. They're living in the past. I get it. The Patriots own the Jets.
No, I get it. No, I get it.
But still, the Jets have been the better team this year. Dare I say it?
No, they haven't. If you look at the Jets' wins this year, they haven't played a quarterback. Yeah, not that they're playing one this week, but you can still get that for $100. Let's see.
Well, Georgia, I mean, you're a Patriots fan. Who do you want? You want Zappy or you want Mac Jones?
I want
Who's
Tom
your
Brady.
guy? Yeah, I know.
Right
You
now,
know you want Tommy
you're-
Brady, but
You're not getting Tommy. You're not getting
guys that
Tommy.
you have
Forget
active.
about
Who do
it.
I want right now? I
Yeah.
want whoever's healthy.
Okay.
But I mean,
Team
you
with
don't have
Bailey
one guy
Zappi.
or the other to say, I want Bailey Zappi under center.
Who
I want
looks-
Mac
Right now-
Jones under center.
who-
Like, what's the
Oh, Bailey
feeling amongst
Zappi and-
Patriots fans?
Bailey Zappi.
Okay.
Bailey
I was
Zappi
going to say,
has
who's
been.
looked better to you?
Bailey Zappi has because he's healthy.
I agree.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think if they start him against Green Bay, they're not a 3-4 team; they're a 4-3 team. And if they started him last week, they probably beat the Bears. I think that locker room. Dare I say, take a line from Tom Jackson
Uh-oh.
all year. Bills lost the team, and this team kind of played better when Zappi came in, but it was just too late.
Right.
Yeah, I would have went with Zappi today.
This isn't college, and if you're gonna do it, it's gotta be like these guys have got to be ready for it. You can't just do it in the middle of the game. When you have this many issues and this many inconsistencies, all he did was make the inconsistencies worse.
Yeah,
because
Hey,
now
can I
you
go
have.
with can I take the Niners as my upset pick of the week, even though the game's even?
Can you take the what? The Niners
Can I
game?
take the Niners? The Niners is my upset, even though it's an even.
I was going to say it's an even game.
Yeah, it's a pick 'em.
Yeah, they're even, but I would say the Rams are favored. They're at home.
I
It's
would
pretty
too.
much a
If
pick 'em.
anything, you give them the 3.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think you could go with the 49ers as an upset.
Yeah, I'll take the Michael Irvin, special. Let me take the game that's the easiest one to pick.
Right? Look, I'll be honest. We're talking about that whole New England thing. Just to backtrack on that, that's a tough thing to do to an offense. You know what I mean? Regardless of how many snaps you have with the ones, it really disrupts things. I don't care how talented everybody is and how kumbaya. Hey, we're cool with having Bailey and Matt. I'm sorry. It disrupts any kind of flow, any kind of momentum that
especially for
either
young
one of them.
quarterbacks, and you know what the old adage, right? If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no
none.
quarterbacks. That's it. And they've got to make a decision. They've got to roll with it. That's it. And in my opinion, I'm rolling with Bailey Zappi. And I think the
would
locker
too.
room, listen, Mac Jones over his first 3 games, they were 1-2, didn't look, he had a couple of decent games, but they were 1-2. And then Bailey Zappi comes in and they start winning. So, I mean, the locker room probably wants Bailey Zappi, and I would assume Patriots fans probably want Bailey Zappi. There seems to be more excitement about him, and he could do more for your offense as well. So they've got to make a decision one way or the other.
You got Giants, Seahawks. Seahawks are favored by 3 in this game. The 12th man always likes to help them out. We talked about it earlier. Geno Smith playing well. Daniel Jones and the boys coming into Seattle. George, who do you like in this game?
I like the Giants. I do. I think it's amazing how, like we were just talking about New England with coaching. You bring in Brian Daboll, and man, is that guy the toast of this town. You want the Giants good here, and the biggest thing that's helping Daniel Jones right now is they're running the football. Saquon Barkley's healthy. Yeah, he could have no receivers, but you don't need to have superstar receivers in this league. Tom Brady proved that.
Right.
Guys have proved that in the past. It's guys like, Aaron Rodgers who needs guys he needs at least one stud.
Right.
And I look at the Giants. The Giants defense has played phenomenal. You see what they did to Baltimore. Like that, I've been to hundreds of Giant games in my life because my dad's a Giants season ticket holder. My wife's a Giants fan. That game against Baltimore was one of the most exciting Giant games I've ever seen.
They were coming hard and fast, man.
And you look at that
Coverage
team.
was good.
They could be 9-1 going into Thanksgiving against the Cowboys.
Woo, wow.
Crazy.
It should be.
Do you think
They
that we
should be
would
9.
ever be saying this in the beginning of the season?
No.
No way.
No, I mean
No way.
there it for the Coach of the Year award. It's Brian
Oh, God.
Dabble, and
Hands
then it's
down.
everyone else. Like,
Yep.
I'll
Absolutely.
give a shout out to my guy Vrabel because the Titans have fielded like 70 guys already this year because of injuries. But even he is miles behind what Brian Dabble is doing over there. And Wink Martindale again. That defense is not like loaded with a bunch of. I mean, it's not the '85 Bears here,
Right.
but his style and bringing the pressure and being so aggressive has been such a difference from what they've been doing the past couple of years with Patrick Graham.
Absolutely.
And it's working. It's working, So, I mean, I would love, they're not going to make a move at the deadline because they're so broke. They're probably just going to roll with the pieces they have.
Yep.
Although
they could make a move at the deadline. They could move Kenny Galladay.
Yeah, I mean, but they're going to have to pick up a bunch of that money. Good luck trading him, but we'll see. I mean, listen, and we've seen that there's some rumors about them being interested in Brandon Cooks would be a fantastic addition to this team.
Wow.
They've got to do, if they're going to do something, they got to do it at wide receiver. So we'll see if that happens. But, I think they're fine just staying status quo. This is a rebuild year. We have to remember that. I know they're 6-1, but they weren't supposed to be like this. It was supposed to be kind of that rebuild year. Don't do anything that's going to screw you cap-wise in the next couple of years. They're going to have a ton of money to work with. Don't do anything that's going to set back your rebuild. You have to remember the big picture situation here.
Absolutely. Look, let me say this in closing real quick before we go. Look, when players have enough talent, we talk about superstars, we talk about, guys that are just extraordinary. But when you have players, and I hate to be so middle of the road with this, but when you have serviceable players, when you have good players, and these guys are working hard, they're buying into these coaches, they're walking behind these coaches, they'll go through fire for these coaches. That's when the rah-rah and the good coaching, and you smash them together, you have Wink, you have Daboll. That's what these guys are doing in New York. This entire team has completely changed its mindset, the way they play, the way that defense, like Mike just said, they come fast. Look, the coverage last week was quite impressive. I am bar none more impressed with this team right now and what they've done and what they've accomplished to do and what Brian Daboll has been able to do than any other team I've seen in the NFL this year. It's that impressive.
And let's give a shout out to Mike Kafka because he's making Daniel Jones look like a viable NFL quarterback.
Yeah, that too. Daniel Jones has played really well this year, and a lot of people not giving him credit. His receivers are dropping everything. I think they had 7 or 8 drops last week. And on top of not having talented receivers who can't get open, they're dropping everything. So Daniel Jones really has played a lot better than his numbers would indicate.
Sure.
And let's remember, this guy has been buried behind a terrible offensive line for the first 3-4 years of his career, and just so many things working against him. I want to see him in a more ideal situation before I can really evaluate if he's a guy that could be a long-term solution. And I think right now he's on pace to at least get another year or two there.
Oh, yeah.
He's playing well enough, I think.
He's doing enough. We've heard this a million times in the NFL. He's doing enough not to sink that ship because he's not doing phenomenal numbers. You know what I mean? He's keeping everything together. And you said earlier, Saquon Barkley, the fact that they have a running game now is just it means so much for him, for his productivity, and for him to be able to be effective. And he doesn't have to be a superstar to get them to where they need to go.
And the only thing that really scares me now with the Giants is they lose Daniel Bellinger, who became Daniel Jones's safety valve because he got punched in the eye.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. Thank you so much for coming by, hanging out with us on Right Down the Line. Brew, anything you want to say to nice people before we get out of here?
See ya.
Mike Moraitis, USA Today's Titans Wire. Make sure you guys check him out. TitansWire.com. Anything you want to say to the nice people before we get out of here?
Tighten up.
Tighten up. I love it.
Tighten it up.
And I want you guys to make sure you get over to stillcurtain.com and check out our articles over there on Pittsburgh. I am proud to say that I am their newest addition, one of their contributors over there for Fansided and stillcurtain.com. Thank you guys. Appreciate that. Thank you, Mike, for the help, brother. I appreciate you. Mr. Moraitis over here has been quite instrumental in getting my head back in that writer's game. And I appreciate your help, my friend. I truly do.
Anytime. We're gonna make you a Pulitzer winner one day, my friend. I promised you.
All right, guys. Thanks again. Enjoy your football. Thank you guys for coming by. Don't forget, check me out weekdays right here on Hot 97.7 at 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern time for the Morning Boombox with Michael J. Thank you guys again. Check us out on social media. And as I say around here all the time, don't sweat small stuff. Right here. See it. So he bugged out again.